So let's start out with the situation this weekend. How did everything play out on Sunday through Monday with ICE?
Yeah, Sunday, I wasn't here. I was in San Antonio, and I got a call from one of my jailers, supervisor, saying that some people from ICE wanted to go in and talk to some of those inmates that I have here. And they said no, because the sheriff's not here. You need to come Monday morning. He'll be here Monday. And they didn't go, they were not allowed to come in. So then Monday, when I came, I called one of the supervisors from my ICE that I wanted to have a meeting with him. And I ended up having a meeting with him on Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And all I wanted to know is that what is the operation about? Or what I have not had anybody from ICE in my office explaining the procedures and it's like that. And he was very nice and everything. He told me that even they or even getting all this thing just like this all of a sudden, and they're trying to figure it out too themselves. I said, yeah, no problem. But I did ask him if, when they want to come to the jail and talk to the prisoners, to the inmates, if they could give me something in black and white that's an operation from them. Because if I don't ask anything like that, I might be facing some lawsuits from some of the inmate, from some of the inmates that have attorneys. So I don't mind as long as you give me some kind of a black and white saying that that's your mission and that's it. And he understood. He said no problem. And I did tell him that I do believe that criminal agent program. I used to be in the border patrol. I believe in that. And I always work with the ICE. Whenever we have somebody illegally in the U.S., we always advise them so they can put a remand whenever they're done with whatever criminal thing that they did here in the county. So I've always worked with ICE, and I'd like to work with ICE because to me it seemed like they have more not power, but more coverage. They do drugs, immigration, and everything. So I do call them when I have a big problem, like in other states. And I told them, I guess there's rumors saying that I'm not going to do any immigration work. And I told them, yes, it is true. I'm not an immigration officer. I was elected by the community of Maverick, and my main thing is security, and that's what I want to do for you guys. If you need some kind of backup, if you're going to go to a certain house, we'd be glad to give you backup. We'll send a unit too, and we're going to back up, make sure that you don't get hurt or nobody's going to get hurt. Of course, we're going to be working with eyes in reference to backups and so forth. When I say no, we work with all the agencies. As a matter of fact, I have one deputy. One of my deputies working with ICE. He's been there for about maybe more than 2 years, working undercover. And so all these rumors that they saying that I'm not going to be working the immigration work, which is fine because I'm not going to do immigration work. I want to be working as a backup security, make sure nobody gets hurt. And if we have to go in and arrest somebody, we're going to do it. When we were work the highways, we stopped vehicles on suspicion or whatever probable cause of something, maybe drugs, whatever. And if we see immigrants, illegal immigrants, we call the border patrol or the state DPS to pick them up. If we're working on here in the county, the colonias, they're close to the river, and we see immigrants in the house, yes, somebody called that the suspected people are in a house and not supposed to be there. We do bring them out, and we call DPS and so forth. We work with all the agencies, and we want to work with all the agencies. We want to make sure that all those officers are going to be safe from harm. The DPS, ICE, and so forth. We got to work together, and so I explained all this to the supervisor from ICE, and we're going to work with them. Of course, we're not going to be knocking on doors. The deputies knocking on doors, asking to see if there's immigrants illegally there. That we're going to be working with ICE. They're going to knock on doors, and we're going to be there behind them.
What are some of the I guess, limitations that your office and other sheriff's offices might face in this process in terms of resources? Like, how many deputies do you have available for this,
Yeah,
and what kind of time do you have available for this?
that's what I explained to them. To this gentleman, this agent, saying that if you need to go to a house and check one of those houses, give us at least 2 days notice. And I only have like per shift in my county, we have like 4 to 3 deputies working the whole shift. So if they're asking for 4 deputies, I won't have anything for security, you know. And I have reserve deputies that I can ask them to help us out with at advance of a time. So that's what I told them. I mean, resources we don't have, we're very limited, and but with time, they can give us 2 or 3 days. We can gather some officers, those deputies that are reserved, and we can work with it.
How many deputies do you have total across the board?
Total is like more or less 30
30-ish.
deputies,
Okay.
30, and of course counting the bailiff, 2 bailiffs, and so it gets smaller and smaller, and then sometimes you get deputies that are on leave or sick leave, so it becomes smaller. So usually, if you speak to sheriffs, they're like me, they always have less resources, and we have a big county as opposed to the city. The city they always come up with like I think you go past the police department, they have like 70 something officers, and it's only go past.
What about jail capacity? Is ICE going to be able to use your facilities, or is that a limited resource as well?
Well, it's very limited. Monday I had 177 inmates. We can only put 200 inmates here. Of course, we need to have that space because we also have people, our local people that have to go to jail for criminal or whatever it is. And we cannot afford to tell them that we have enough space for the inmates. I mean, for the arrestees. Of course, we make exceptions if it's 1 or 2 that they're going to pick them up the next day. Yes, we can do that. But we cannot put in like 20 or 30 people arrested here in this jail. They're going to have to go somewhere else.
So, in helping ICE, is that something that your county can be reimbursed for?
Yeah, they're going to have to be we have to get reimbursed. Usually, when we work, like for example, when we work with the boat relations on stone operations, we have deputies working overtime, but the county pays them, and then we can reimburse. But now, with my new budget, I don't have any money for that. I don't have the line item, no money for overtime. So, and that's why we told the agent that I don't know how we're going to do it because if I have 2 deputies working with them on overtime, we don't have that line item to cover right away to pay the deputy. So I'm hoping that we can work something with them to see if they can pay him right away. Or I don't know how, but my new judge took away that overtime money on my budget. So I don't have that to say that you can work my deputy's 2 hours right now. I mean, overtime right now to pay with county money, then the county will get reimbursed. We don't have that anymore.
So, how does that work then? Do the deputies just cut off at their end time, no overtime, if
Well,
that line item's gone?
yeah, right now there might be some overtime, but not like working like for example, when they worked with Stone Garden operations, we had that money. We haven't. We're still waiting to start it again with Stone Garden. I'm hoping we're gonna have Stone Garden, but we don't have money to work like right now on that line item for that particular overtime with other agencies. Nothing like that. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they can figure it out. The other agencies see if they can pay my deputies in another way.
Have you spoken with other sheriffs along the border? Do they have a similar mentality when it comes to working with ICE and kind of serving in that backup role as opposed to enforcing?
Yeah, I called the sheriff from Laredo, and he said he hasn't. When I called him Sunday, said he was still and hadn't heard anything from them. I didn't call back later, but I know that I heard just for today that I think it was Kinney County. I'm not very sure, close to this county. That they let Sunday they let uh, the agents to go into the jail, And I don't mind if they go in. I just want something to prove that it's not my operation. I don't want to get in lawsuits and then having the county to pay millions of dollars back to the person.
Right. Is there anything else you think is important for people to know as we continue this conversation about ICE and detainers, deportations?
Yeah, like I said, I'm pro for the criminal alien program because we do have people that are criminals. There's some people that are here that I wish they could go back and be deported. They have to be deported, and some people stay here. And I've been complaining of certain individuals there that they needed to be deported. Somehow it wasn't done, and this is an opportunity for us, the sheriff, to deport all these criminals that are here, that are here with some kind of a permit, and they still haven't been deported. But I think with this new program, they're going to be gone pretty soon because I've been given names of those individuals to an agent that I know very well, and I work with him with mice, so maybe they can deport these people.
Now, how are things going to change for you now that the federal government wants to have more of a presence on the border and is doing things like sending military and other resources in the state as well? Does that take a load off of your deputies or do things kind of remain the same?
Well, no, it's going to be remain the same because we're still going to be having the criminal element around in the county, and I still see that there's some aliens coming through here through Rio Grande, hiding and so forth. We're still going to be busy. That's going to change. The military usually are over there. They're let's see. I don't understand if they're going to have permission from the ranchers to be there, the family. I mean, it all depends on the owners of the ranches to give permission for soldiers to be in their property. I don't know how it's going to work, but I still see that the aliens, because they're not all from Mexico. They're talking about Venezuela, Guatemala. They're from other countries, not only Mexico. As a matter of fact, if you look at the numbers of the apprehensions, there's more from other countries than Mexico. That Mexico is a small percentage of immigrants coming through here from Mexico. So I'm seeing that the criminals from other countries are going to go through here, and we're still going to be busy.